Octonauts and the Great Christmas Rescue. The octopod sparkled with fairy lights. It was nearly Christmas. "Let's check our countdown clock," said Barnacles. "We have to wait until the sea star at the top lights up." Professor Inkling scooted over in his Hoover chair. He had a special reason to be looking forward to Christmas this year. The Octonauts were coming home with him to celebrate. Dashy tapped the computer screen and a picture appeared of Professor Inkling with his nephew Squirt. "He looks just like you," remarked Barnacles. Inkling pointed to a photo of a giant rock. "This is where Squirt lives and I grew up," he explained. "It looks like a huge undersea mountain," cooed Peso. Shellington nodded. "That's just what a seamount is." On the seamount, there were crabs, fish, sea cucumbers, and a special golden coral that was 500 years old. 500, gasped Quasi. "That's a lot of Christmases." The professor's eyes twinkled. We all gathered around her and sang a special song with the Christmas tree worms. "They look just like little Christmas trees," cried Peso, gazing up at the screen. Barnacles checked the Christmas countdown clock one more time. If the Octonauts were going to reach the seamount before the big day, they needed to get moving. Dashy commanded, "Active launch." The octopods pulled in its pods and began to glide through the ocean. Down in the launch bay, Tweak was too busy to think about celebrating. She had a top-secret project to build. "I've got to finish the surprise in time for Christmas," she puffed. "Hand me another hammer, Tunip." Tweak's hammering and drilling echoed all the way up the aqua chute. "I wonder what she's making," said Peso. "Don't know, matey," replied Quanzi. "She won't let anyone down there." The captain chuckled. They just have to wait until Christmas to find out what Tweak was up to. The crew had lots to do before Christmas. Peso gave Captain Barnacles lessons in present wrapping. Quanzi helped trim the tree in the garden pod. When the bauble bounced into the aqua chute, Quanzi slid down after it. "Got it!" he cried, landing in the launch bay. "What in the 7 seas is that?" he gasped. A giant red machine bobbed in the water. Tweak's gift for Captain. "I call it the Gup X," she grinned. "It's the toughest gup I've ever built. That is the best present ever," said Quanzi, promising not to spoil the surprise. The aquapod's voyage was nearly over. "There's the seamount, Captain," cried Dashy. Rattle, boom! The vessel shuddered and shook. Dashy looked through the aquascope. There had been some kind of rock slide, she announced. "All of those rocks must have fallen from the top of the seamount to the bottom," frowned the captain. Dashy spun around in her chair. "That means the professor's friends and family are trapped underneath." "Oh no," cried Professor Inkling. "Squirt!" "We'll find your nephew," promised Barnacles. "Sound the aqua alert." "Octonauts to the launch bay." The Octonauts had to get the sea creatures out from under the rock pile and move them to safe places. Professor Inkling requested permission to join the rescue. His friends and family needed him. "Agreed," said Barnacles. "This mission is going to take all of us working together." Tweak prepared Gups A, B, C, and D, and E for launch. The subs rushed to the rocky slide. "Oh my," sighed the professor. "It's even bigger than we thought." Captain Barnacles put his hand on his shoulder. Oh, as an Octonaut, he promised, we will search rock by rock until we find Squirt and all of your friends. Let's do this. The Octonauts leaped into action. Pesto set up a treatment table. It was time to use his super speedy bandaging skills. Tweak switched the Gup D to crab mode and began to lift boulders. Slowly and surely, the sea creatures started to escape through the gaps in the rock. Professor Inkling and Barnacles worked side by side. The rock has holes in it, remarked the professor as the Christmas tree worms popped out. Is it Christmas yet? They chorused. Barnacles checked his countdown clock. The worms still had a little while to wait. Quanzi zoomed around the rock slide in Gup B, picking up hurt sea creatures. He found a crab with a sore claw, but there was no sign of Inkling's nephew, Squirt. Guys, over here! Tweak had discovered a big round stone with a yellow tree hanging underneath it. That's the golden coral, cried Professor Inkling. Hello, friends, the poor creature smiled sadly. It looks like I'll be spending Christmas upside down this year. The crew tied a tow line around the base of the golden coral. Dashy got ready to wink the creature out of the rock slide. Oh, my signal, ordered Barnacles. 1, 2, 3. The Gupsy rattled and cranked as it reeled in the tow line. When the golden coral was free, Barnacles and Quasi carefully pushed her up to the right position. The golden coral stretched out her branches. The 3 baby sea snails appeared. Thanks for getting me out in one piece, she beamed. These snails rely on me for protection. Now only Squirt was missing. Look, caught Peso, spying a tail of ink. Where there is ink, there's an octopus, declared the golden coral. Squirt must be trapped in there, shouted Professor Inkling. The octopuses squirt ink when they are scared. Barnacles thought hard. None of the Gups would be strong enough to tunnel into the rock slide and save Squirt. Captain, said Tweak, I think it's time to give you an early Christmas present. The brand new Gup Z zoomed into view. It had awesome caterpillar tracks and a super hard shell, and it was the toughest gulp ever. Captain Barnacles couldn't wait to get into the driving. Thank you, he grinned. This is a perfect Christmas gift at a perfect time. The Gulp X powered through the rock slide in seconds. When the super sub hit a dead end, Quanzi swam out and searched the cave. More ink, he gasped. Follow a curling back tail. A jet of ink splashed right into Quanzi's face. He had found Squirt. Sorry, whimpering the young octopus. I'm a little scared. Crash, boom, bang. It was too late. A heavy stack of rocks piled up in front of the cave, trapping the Gup X inside. The Octonauts watched and waited. Rocks and boulders began to crash down into the cave. Shiver me whiskers, yelled Quanzi. The tunnel's falling apart. Barnacles opened the Gulp exit hatch so that Quanzi and Squirt could crawl in. Let's get out of here, he shouted. Crash, boom, bang. The Gulp X crashed its way out, sending rocks tumbling in all directions. The Octonauts cheered. Uncle Inkling, cried Squirt, rushing up to give the professor a hug. The gang's all here now, announced the golden coral. Squirt was the last creature missing. Now everyone was safe. They needed a new home. The best place would be the top of the seamount, suggested Professor Inkling. But there are dangerous waters along the way. Peso gulped. None of the usual gulps made such a steep climb. I fitted special aqua suction to Gulp X, said Tweak. They should stick to the seamount no matter how fast the water is moving. Everyone ready up there? Asked Captain Barnacles a little later. The Gulp X began to slowly trundle up the rock's face. Peso sat tight in back. It was his job to keep an eye on the very little sea creatures. We've passed the rock slide, said Quanzi. Rough waters began to swirl and bubble around Gulp X. It was time to operate the sub's aqua suction. Tweak had done a great job. They were working perfectly. The seamount got steeper and steeper. Hold on, warned the captain. Let's give these aqua suctions a real test. The Gulp X trundled over an overhanging rock. Whoa! Cried the Octonauts as the sub turned upside down. The Gulp X clung on to the rock like glue. The sub was almost at the top of the seamount. This is the last climb. It's going to be tough, warned Barnacles. Everyone hold tight. The little sea snails nestled even deeper into the golden coral's branches. We're ready, Captain. Suddenly, disaster struck. Octonauts, cried the golden coral. Sea snail overboard. I'll help you, shouted Quanzi, pulling on the diving helmet. Quanzi swam out and got the sea snails. But then the current got Quanzi. The brave pirate cat couldn't paddle back to Gulp X. Barnacles released the sub's special rescue line just in the nick of time. Quanzi reached out and grabbed it. Now we've got Quanzi and the sea snails, cheered Peso. We're almost there, announced Captain Barnacles, but I don't think we've made in time for Christmas. Tweak chuckled, then pointed to a special green button. It activates a slippery slime, she explained. Quanzi cheered. The Gulp X could use the slime to slide down into the middle of the seamount. Slime sliding was just like sledging. We made it, said Inkling as Gulp X slid to a stop. Peso hugged the professor, and we were all together. Is it Christmas yet? Said the little Christmas worms. Captain Barnacles pulled out his countdown clock. A happy star was twinkling on the top of the tree. The Octonauts and their friends gathered around the golden coral. It is now, declared the captain, finally, officially Christmas.